Welcome into episode 483 of the Skate Podcast. I am Brian DeFelice, joined by Bridget Prue and Scott McLaughlin. Bridget and Scott, the Bruins have concluded 5 of their 6 preseason games. Their 5th featured more or less all bubble players, most bubble players, and then some players that are clearly bound for Providence. The final game will probably be more so the Bruins warm-up lineup for the regular season. But first, how are you two doing?
So I would be doing better. I woke up early to listen to the new Taylor Swift album. And all I got to say is maybe I'll catch her on the next one. I don't know. Scott, did you listen yet?
Yeah, I thought it was really good.
Me and Scott always have opposite opinions about this. All the albums that he likes, I don't like, and all the albums that I like, he doesn't like.
Wow, this one's got bangers. I don't know.
No, it doesn't.
What's your issue with it?
No, it doesn't. So,
yeah,
Brian, when he said
actually romantic?
No.
Would?
Wishlist was awful, okay? Can we agree on that?
I didn't mind Wishlist. I see everyone hating on that one.
It was just
hold on. Let me get this straight. That you two were telling me that since midnight, you guys have listened to an entire album of any artist, let alone Taylor Swift. The whole album you guys have listened to, that's gonna be like what, 2 hours or an hour and a half?
No, it's like 45 minutes.
Oh my God bless
you. We found time. Brian, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I didn't even know it was coming.
I mean, I listen to music on my drive into work a lot anyway, so this wasn't even like going out of my way to listen to it. I just listened to it on my drive in.
45 isn't bad, I guess. I for some reason I thought albums were like, I guess that makes sense. 20 songs, 15 songs, 2.5 minutes each, I guess.
No, yeah, it's not even that many songs. This one's only 12 songs.
Yeah, but watch like tomorrow though, she'll add like 12 more.
I hope not. She's got to stop doing that. Like this is like a nice tight album as it is. Like don't just start like throwing on a dozen more songs.
All right, whatever. Scott and I disagree about it, but Brian, don't ever let him fool you when he says I'm the bigger Swiftie. It's not me.
You are, just because you listen to her way more than I do. I'm obviously, I think I'm gonna listen to this album more, but
yeah, I think you are.
Well, Bridget, what didn't you jive with? Was it the lyrics or the hooks or the actual music? Was it not catchy enough for you?
I mean, sometimes it takes a little bit for things to grow on me, so we'll see. I liked Life of a Showgirl, which is the one with Sabrina Carpenter and Taylor Swift, but yeah, there was a lot of lyrics that I didn't enjoy. And I just expected it to be more poppy. I don't know. Different vibe than I was expecting, I guess.
Well, I can tell you guys this. I am pretty positive that the majority of our listeners are loving this conversation to start the podcast. So let's transition quickly over to the Bruins. I
thought we were going to transition to the end of Red Sox season. Something happened.
Yeah, I mean, that was a tough loss for the Sox too.
Yeah, that was rough. They just didn't have enough. Like they just ran out of steam. I mean, you're relying on a rookie who just came up less than a month ago,
and he was good.
Yeah, he was. Their fielding sucked. Totally let them down. Sucked.
Absolutely, bats let them down.
I didn't expect this team to go far, but it really would have been nice to beat the Yankees and kind of keep that going because they've had the Yankees number in the playoffs for like 20 years now. So that would have been nice, but oh well. Yeah, onto Bruins season, onto college hockey season.
Mm-hmm.
Friday is women already started. Bridget's already had a couple broadcasts, but Friday's opening night for the men. I'm gonna be at BC, watch James Hagens and the Newton Bruins take on Quinnipiac. So I'm excited about that.
The Chestnut Hill Bruins. Get it right, Scott.
I like going Newton because that kind of turns the screw into BC people a little more.
Yeah, that's what I thought you were going for, but it's inaccurate. Anyway, college hockey season is upon us, and I have 4 broadcasts this weekend, guys. So I have 1 tonight, the women, 2 tomorrow, BU doubleheader, and then Sunday the men play an exhibition game. So my brain is already like broadcasting those games. Like last night I broadcast definitely in my sleep what I'm planning on doing. So Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm excited to do my first full weekend at BU this year.
Yeah, I mean the BC Quinnipiac game. Obviously, you guys make jokes about how many Bruins prospects are on BC, but Quinnipiac also has Chris Pelosi. So there's
and Elliot Grunwald, 2 Bruins prospects.
Yeah, there you go. So
And it's sold out, I think.
It's Bruins Dev Camp tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Dev Camp was obviously in the summer. Let's talk about training camp because that's wrapping up. I mean, the regular season starts next week, mid next week for the Bruins. Or the Bruins they're on Wednesday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So the NHL season starts on Tuesday, but the Bruins are on Wednesday. We got to get down to this final roster, and I mentioned earlier the roster that was on the ice in Washington seemed like, Scott, I saw you tweet this out. It was a lot of the bubble guys and guys that are probably bound for Providence that were given a chance to play on the same ice and try to separate themselves from the pack. And, unfortunately, the players who separated themselves from the pack last night were Jonas Korpisalo, who is already your NHL backup goaltender, and Brett Harrison, who, he got his first preseason action in Game 5 of the preseason, and he hasn't been talked about as somebody who has a shot to make the Boston Bruins. So despite his good game last night, we're not going to sit here and say that that's changed all of a sudden. But you have a bunch of guys last night that, again, just another night where most guys weren't noticeable. And then a couple had moments, but not enough where you're like, this guy's undeniable. But here we are, and the Bruins have to get down to a final roster. And some of these guys that haven't been undeniable are indeed going to make roster spots.
Yeah, I think, we can go through a lot of these guys. I do think it's worth noting that the Bruins as a team got off to a horrible start in this game. They were totally outplayed in the first period, outshot 18-5, I think. They did actually bounce back nicely. Like the second half of the game, the Bruins played well and end up scoring twice late in the second period to take the lead, hold on in the third period. They close it out. They get an empty netter. And they did that against a Washington team that I would say was, I don't know, 60% NHL lineup. It wasn't a full NHL lineup, but had regular Alex Ovechkin was playing. Like they had, most of their defense was playing Jacob Chikrin, Martin Fehervary. Like,
yeah, no Wilson,
no Carlson,
no Luc Dubois, no Strom, no Carlson, no Sandin, but
no Alexei Protas. You got Ilya Protas, his younger brother.
Yeah, that confused me for a second. I was like, I didn't think that he was in the OHL last year. I'm pretty sure he was on the Capitals.
Yeah, I know. They just keep finding all these Protas's.
Yeah.
But so I thought that was a pretty good effort or turned into a pretty good effort from a team of bubble guys, and protecting a lead is it's kind of like an unsexy task. Like it's not right. Like that's harder work than playing wide open hockey and getting a bunch of scoring chances. But I actually thought like the way the Bruins locked in that third period was pretty encouraging to see from this group, from a young group. So I don't want to dismiss that. Now, to your point of like, who did anyone stand out and like run with a job? I would agree that no, that didn't really happen other than Korpisalo, who, like you said, was already the clear favorite to be the backup. I think he solidified that. Matt Poitras is one I would highlight as a true bubble guy who I thought in the second period in particular really generated some offense, found some ice to make some plays. In one shift, he sent Alex Steves in on 2 breakaways. Steves did not get a shot off on either of them. That probably is not going to help his chances as another bubble guy. But yeah, like I wouldn't say Matt Poitras was like absolutely dominant where it's like, well, there you go. He's on the roster, no doubt about it. But in a game where some other guys didn't really stand out much, I thought he at least did enough where I'm like, okay, I probably elevate him above like pretty much the entire rest of this group that played last night. The question is him versus Fraser Minten, who did not play, which I actually take as a good sign for Minten. Maybe that's Marco Sturm telling us like he doesn't view Minten as a true bubble guy anymore. Maybe he has him on the team. He spoke highly of him on Wednesday after practice, said he's been really good. So then we can come back to the debate of like, is there room for both of Minten and Poitras? Is it only one of them? Do they both go down to Providence? I think we're still kind of wondering about that.
Yeah, it's so funny. So this just came into my head as you were talking about Fraser Minten making the team, like, and Marco Sturm speaking highly of him. I was just because I was watching, obviously we saw Ryan Leonard had a pretty good game and he's had a great preseason so far. I was looking up last night the preseason Calder odds to see like where he was on that list. And Fraser Minten is at like number 11 or something on the list to be rookie of the year, to win the call. Like he's on the list. So the Vegas odds, apparently they believe he's making the team and that he's going to have a good season. Like not that he's going to win it, but to even be in that range of the list, I was like, oh, okay. Fraser Minten, I wasn't expecting to see there. So I agree with you, Scott. I think he's had a good enough preseason to make the team. I can also see a situation where because he doesn't have to clear waivers, he's sent down to work on the offensive side of things, because what's impressed me about him in the preseason has been, his defensive side of his game. And he's good in transition. He's a smart defensive player. He's a safe player. He's not going to turn the puck over and it bite you in the butt right away. But I do think there's more offense to get out of him. And maybe they say, or maybe Sturm and everybody in the organization agrees the best place for him to work on it is in the AHL because the Bruins need to get off to a good start. And there's just a little bit less leeway for risks to be taken at the NHL level in the beginning of the season, because if they don't start off strong, we talked about it, I don't know if they're the kind of team that can get out of that hole, the same kind of hole that they dug themselves early last season.
Well, and this is why the configuration of the Bruins center depth chart has completely, depending on what that is, it completely changes how I look at this lineup and where Fraser Minten fits in. For example, for the longest time, all summer, even through the start of training camp, I thought in my mind it was going to be Elias Lindholm, Casey Middlestad, Zacha on his wing, and then, Corrali or Kaslik as the fourth line center. But that third line center was a big question mark with an opportunity inside track for Fraser Minten or Matt Poitras to win that.
And when we did our not preseason projections, remember when it was actually free agency. We made like our what we thought they should do in free agency. And I think all of us had that 3C as Minten at the time. Like when we made our line charts, and then when we collectively agreed on one, I believe he was our 3C.
Right. But a lot of that was because we thought that we assumed it would be Zacha on the wing. But then in training camp, we've seen times, and Marco Sturm has made comments where, oh, well, okay, is the center depth going to be Lindholm, Zacha, Middlestat, or Lindholm, Middlestat, Zacha? And if that's the case, well, I don't think Fraser Minten is your fourth line center over Corrali or Kaslik right now. I think you might want him to play those minutes in Providence and work on the offense, to your point. So this week is going to be telling, obviously. It has to be. But we'll see how the centers line up in depth-wise.
And we should put an asterisk before we get too far into this. There is a chance that the cuts get dropped right after we record.
I'm sure they will.
Yeah.
Yeah. I actually meant to note that off the top. But yeah, we're recording this like a little before 10 a.m. Friday. The Bruins practice at 11 a.m. We expect a round of cuts before or during practice. Basically, that they're only scheduled to have one group on the ice, so that suggests that we are no longer getting two separate groups at Warrior. So yes, that is worth noting. Just in case people are like, "Hey, they surprisingly cut Fraser Minten today," and they're talking about Fraser Minten. Like, I don't think he's gonna get cut now, him or Poitras. I think. I would guess if those guys are going down, they're like the final cuts that we get Monday, afternoon. Final cuts are due Monday at 5 p.m. Not final cuts. I should say that's when you have to get down to your 23-man cap compliant roster, you can still make moves between then and opening night. But yeah, on Minten, one thing I've been starting to think, and as I was driving in listening to Taylor Swift this morning, I was also running through line combinations in my head. And I was like, are we sure Sean Corrali and Mark Kaslick are both everyday players on this team? Are we sure one of them has to be your fourth line center? Because I'm like, I kind of like the idea of Fraser Minten centering my fourth line and giving him a run there and having that be the way he breaks into the NHL. I think back to Brad Marchand breaking in on the fourth line and grinding with veterans and how that benefited him. And I'm like, I don't know, maybe Minten with some combination of Jeannot, Acimont, Corrali, Kaslick, two of those guys on his wing, and maybe it can create more compete among those guys for playing time. Like, I kind of like that idea. And this is sort of where it's like, you know, do the Bruins have one too many fourth liners? Because your intention going in wasn't for either Corrali or Kaslick or Acimont to sit at all. But I just feel like that's like a really good spot for Fraser Minten, and I kind of think he's earning it. Like, I know they're veterans and they might approach camp a little differently, but like, I can't say I've been blown away with Sean Corrali or Mark Kaslick this preseason. Again, I know they've played in the NHL, they know what they're doing, but it's been pretty quiet. Like, I feel like they've kind of just been out there, honestly. So
Yeah,
that's something that has like just been in my mind.
I also think that they know they're safe probably at this point, and that
They're safe to make the team. I guess what I'm asking is, are they safe to be locks every night playing?
Well, I don't think Kaslick is going to be the center. I see Corrali as that guy. I see Kaslick taking draws where applicable. I think I see them moving Kaslick to the wing. But to your point, Scott, you're not wrong. Like, I think Minten has had a better camp than both of them. I even said last episode, even though Corrali had scored in that preseason game on that pass from Pastrnak going to the net, outside of that, he has seemed quiet. But then again, I brought up how, and you mentioned this, Scott, months ago, like when they signed those guys, like you even brought up the idea of how certain guys need to have great camps, like Minten and guys like that, whereas guys like, I think you even mentioned by name, like Corrali, like they come in there, you know, they have a different type of camp. So to your concept of Minten on a fourth line center role, I didn't mean to dismiss that 10 minutes ago because I didn't think he's capable. I don't get why they would do that after having all the bottom six guys they do with the experience, when, you know, they could help. Because again, I feel like part of this is like they're trying to, you know, get some professionalism and structure back into their team, and I think they see like Corrali and Kaslick as guys that can do that, while Minten, at worst case, is just playing in all situations in Providence. But I have no idea how this is going to play out. I could also see Minten playing wing. You know, like who knows, to crack it, if he's that good and they want him in Boston. Yeah, maybe I don't know, but they have so many bottom six guys. This is why the summer just made no sense to me at the time, and it makes no sense to me now.
I think we should also talk about guys though that this preseason have probably done the opposite of what Minten has done, to kind of like maybe force a hand and at least force a conversation and some longer thoughts about what to do with him before sending him back down to Providence and make his case. But there's been some guys that have really just not forced a discussion. Like they've made it easy to say, all right, Providence is the spot for this player. And I think Fabian Lysell is in that category. No shots on goal in this fifth preseason game.
No shot attempts. Didn't even have a shot attempt.
I think he leads the league. I think he leads the league in the preseason in attempts on trying to go through guys' legs. I don't think he's ever seen a pair of skates he hasn't wanted to try to put the puck through. He just doesn't get it.
It's a European thing.
It's not it's a stubbornness thing, and somebody who just, you know, can't help themselves. He's either not listening to coaching or he's listening, but when he gets out there, he just can't help himself. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. It's like three preseasons now where the kid he just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. And I'm sure we'll see some clips of him down in Providence having, a couple of nice plays throughout the year. But like at the NHL level, he just does not. He doesn't play the game intelligently enough to make an NHL roster. He just doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, had the offensive zone penalty behind the net, had a turnover on the breakout. I think he had another turnover in the offensive zone that I can think of. Yeah, like I think pretty clearly not enough. I feel like the writing was already on the wall a little bit last week when he was practicing with the B group and not the NHL group. And yeah, hasn't done enough since then. Had what I thought was a pretty promising start to camp, which had been an issue in previous years, but didn't sustain it. Look, training camp is 3 weeks or almost 3 full weeks. Like you got to put together 3 weeks. It can't be a few days on, a few off, a week on, a week off, game on, game off. Like that's not good enough. Like you got to, if you're trying to break in and you haven't established yourself as an NHLer, you have to win a job. You have to steal a job. You have to push someone else out. And Fabian Lysell certainly has not done that. I imagine when, if and when the list of guys getting sent to Providence comes out on Friday, I would imagine he's on it. It'll probably be a pretty long list, but yeah, I don't know. It's fair to wonder like if or when there's going to be a breakthrough. I think I've been more patient than a lot of people, but it's tough. Like you just don't. It doesn't really seem like there's been any kind of big step taken.
Well, you hope that the speed and the skating would allow him to break into the league, and then from there you kind of figure your way out, figure out what you can and can't do. But he doesn't even use his skating. He's a floater. He's an absolute floater out there. I mean, I just when you watch him, how often does he ever seem dangerous with the puck on his stick? Even in the O-zone when they have possession, he doesn't take pucks hard to the net. He doesn't pass the puck hard enough. He doesn't shoot the puck. He just doesn't. The game just happens, I think, too quick at the NHL level, and guys are just too strong and they're too smart around him to allow him to go through their legs like all as often as he tries to do it. Even David Pastrnak doesn't do that shit, and that often, and he can do it if he wants to. I watched a guy like Georgi Merkulov last night, and I didn't think that he had a turnover as well. He didn't have a perfect game, but at least you see him doing things that he knows he should be doing in those moments. Like there's times where he has no play, he gets the puck in deep and changes. Like Lysell just doesn't get it. He just doesn't get it.
Yeah, I was just thinking about because I knew I had a note that he had an offensive zone turnover, and I just went to reference it, and it was he came into the zone seemingly with speed and kind of had his zone entry was cutting sort of diagonally from right to left, and the defenseman just kind of like guided him wider and wider left, and then he just threw a blind backhand pass to the middle that was easily picked off, like no one even near it. And it's like, that's a play that can easily just turn into a 3-on-2 the other way. Like you can't do that. Like you can't throw 10 feet inside the blue line, throw a blind backhand pass to the middle of the ice. Like that's not going to do it.
Yeah. I think that's an obvious one. In training camps past, we've been having the conversation about him up to the buzzer. Last year, I remember he had finished strong. We didn't know if he was going to make the team, didn't make the team. I question where he would fit in with what he's done, because they are obviously looking for shot first guys. They're looking for more pucks to go on the net. They're looking for, just more pure volume. And Lysell could do that, right? Like that's something that he is an offensive minded player. His offense is his strength. But then you watch Blumel do it and he does it better. And you watch, Arvidsson do it. And you're like, okay, that is what they want. Those are two players that are doing that. And then you watch Lysell and he doesn't get a shot on goal. He doesn't get a shot attempt even. So It's like I'm watching Blumel do it, and it's what Lysell should be doing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been blown away with Arvidsson or Blumel this preseason either, but they've been better than Lysell. And I guess we know Arvidsson's going to be on the team, so that's kind of maybe we put that to the side for now. Blumel is definitely worth getting into here because I think based on our text last night, we might have some differing opinions or just how we view the player. I would say the positives with Blumel this preseason, he leads the team in shot attempts, shots on goal, scoring chances, high danger chances. That tells me he is getting to the right areas. Now, I also think he's settling for a lot of outside shots, which I would like to see him work a little more to get inside. But he has still gotten some really good scoring chances. So that's all encouraging. I didn't think Thursday night was a very good game for him. I thought there were a couple times he got knocked off the puck pretty easily. I have started to notice times where when the puck's on his stick, it feels like I don't know if the play full on dies on his stick, but it slows down and he almost holds on to it too long. And that has started to stand out a little more to me where it's like, I think I know he's only scored once this preseason. I think he can be dangerous if he's in a spot where other guys are doing the work and he's the one getting set up. I do think when he's the one who has to make a play, I think I've seen him struggle at times. But his effort for the most part, I think, has been pretty good. I think he's going to be on the team. It seems like Marco Sturm is clearly a believer in him. But I do kind of wonder, like, just where his role is going to be because I don't think I've seen enough to put him on the second line with Zacha. Like, I know Sturm wanted to try that combination. Third line, maybe, but he's gonna have to do more. Like, there's gonna have to be more of an end result than there's been so far. I could also see him being an extra forward. So I haven't been super high, or I think I was to start. I was higher on him. I feel like he's in my mind kind of trailed off a little as camp has gone on. But I don't know. It's you hear Marco Sturm talk about, like, I think even it was either pregame yesterday or maybe Wednesday after practice. And he was saying like I've seen it before from him, talking about like him being dangerous. And it's like, yeah, like you saw it in the AHL. I feel like we still need to like see it against NHL competition, and it hasn't quite. I don't think it's really fully come out yet.
Well, but you also have to give him a little bit of a chance to take the coaching and adjust, right? Like, I thought that he did start out really strong. I think we do have differing opinions on him because I'm pretty certain he's making the team, and I'm pretty certain he's in the middle six and not your extra forward. I think that Sturm is very high on him. I think that they're also afraid to lose him on waivers, so I don't think he's starting in Providence. I think that if he did get waived, there's a good chance that he doesn't get through. Because he does those things. Like, he has that skill set. He was the top player in the AHL last season. He seems like he could be an NHLer. I think he's had a better preseason than, like we mentioned, Lysell, but who's Nadinov as well, Beecher. Like, there's a long list of those bubble guys I think he's done better than. And when we were texting back and forth last night, we were kind of throwing out what we think the lineup might look like. And I keep going back to that center, Zacha centering the second line and Blumel being on his line. In my mind, I just feel like that's where it will start. I think this is more of a gut feeling based off of some of Sturm's comments, some of Zacha's comments as well, talking about how he seemed to, that him and Sturm had talked about him starting out as a center. And I just think maybe they go Blumel, Zacha, Arvidsson as the second line, which would drop Middlestat, which would then drop Minten probably off the roster. Or it would, like Scott said, maybe he's consider for a fourth line role, or maybe that sends him down to Providence. But I do think Blumel, and say even if Minten is there, right, and they do keep Zacha and Middlestad on the same line on the second line, third line could be Blumel, Minten, and Poitras. I think that, that's another option that they have. I think that every lineup that I try to go through the combinations, I feel like he's in there.
I think you guys are both saying a lot of accurate things. Scott, I think your assessment about the game slowing down at times with the puck on his stick, I think is accurate. I've noticed that as well. But, he also did some good things last night too. I mean, he intercepted a pass at the offensive blue line and snuck in which takes initiative, right? Goes in for a breakaway, a little bit, impeded by the defenseman, but gets a good scoring chance. I mean, that's an effort play. I do think that all the things you mentioned, he's done well with high scoring chances and danger chances and shot attempts and all that stuff. Like, I think he's done enough in camp with this roster to warrant a roster spot. Again, we have to keep in mind this Bruins team is not gifted offensively, but beyond their top player, certainly their top couple. And what I would say is I also think it's coupled with I haven't seen that much out of Matt Poitras, certainly to the point where I'm thinking he's dangerous offensively. And the Bruins need to have guys in this team if they want to make the playoffs, they need to find offense beyond Pastrnak. And I don't know if that's coming from Fraser Minten in a rookie season. And I don't honestly know if it's coming from Matt Poitras. And I think that, like, Poitras does a lot of good things well. He also does things where you're like, oh, dude, like, how do you not get that pass through? Like, there was a play last night where, he had all the time in the world in a 2-on-1. I think it may have been with Blumel. And he had an opportunity to move the puck earlier, and he holds on to it, and the puck doesn't even make it past the corner. So, there's times where Poitras also seems Poitras seems hard on the puck, and then there's times where he's just light on it, and he's kind of standing up straight. And I think that if we were to, I think the biggest thing going for Poitras in this right now, in a lot of Bruins fans' mind, is the fact that he's made the team a couple times out of camp before, and that he has 66 NHL games to his name with 25 points. If you were to look at training camp in a vacuum, I don't think he's had a better camp than Blumel. I think it's fair to say they've been comparable in different areas, but
they're so different.
They're different, and this is where it comes down to, like, I think I see both of them. I can see both of them on this open. I think if you look at a lot of lineup projections, Puckpedia, Daily Faceoff, you have both Blumel and Poitras in the Bruins middle six. The odd man out is Minten, and I really it does feel like it's between Minten or Poitras, because I don't think you want either one of them sitting. So it's like, which one can benefit more from Providence? And I think it might be Minten with his offensive game. I don't know.
Can I lay out I'll give you guys the lineup that I would try. Like, this is what I think I would roll out Saturday and see how it goes, because I'm coming at this from the angle of all the different second and third line combinations they've tried in camp and preseason. None of them have impressed me. Like, I very much don't think they've figured that group out yet.
And I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon. But maybe your combination might, though.
And which is why, like, when Bridget mentions, the Blumel, Zacha, Arvidsson combination, and, that bumps Middlestad down to third line center, it's like, you might very well be right, because, like, that was one of the first things Sturm tried. And it's like, maybe in his mind, he's like, you know what, I've changed some things, but hey, there's a reason this was kind of my first idea. And maybe he just goes back to that to start the season. That would be reasonable. But here's what, again, this is what I would roll out Saturday and see how it looks. And then maybe I fall back to some other combination if it doesn't work out. Geeky, Lindholm, Pastrnak, no changes there. Second line, I'm trying Poitras centering Zacha and Arvidsson. Try that combination. Haven't seen that yet. Third line, I have Middlestad centering Blumel, and I put Acimont there. If you wanted to argue for Jeannot, that's fine. I think that's kind of interchangeable. Fourth line, I have Minten centering, Jeannot as one of the wingers, or Acimont, whichever one's not on the third line, and then one of Corelli or Kastelik. And this is what I was getting at earlier. One of those two can then be an extra forward, and I'll keep Kusnudinov as a 14th forward. That I don't think that's what they're going to do. Like, it would be it doesn't feel like something Sturm's going to try, but again, coming from the angle of I haven't really liked anything else they've done in that middle six, so just trying like one last new thing while we have a chance in preseason.
Let me ask you this about that second line. What is the dynamic? Like, what is the identity of that line? You have a young center who's more offensive than defensive. Not saying he's bad defensively. It's just that's some part of his game that's not fully developed yet, probably.
Yep. But paired with a veteran who has played center, who can pick up some of the defensive slack if needed. I mean, Zach could even center that line and you put Poitras on wing, but I do think like Poitras played center Thursday night, and I just think he's better there.
I agree.
Like I just think you get the most out of him when he's in the middle of the ice. So that was my thinking there. So a veteran who's also played center who can help out defensively on one wing in Zaka, and then Arvidsson as a shooter. Like, give those two a shooter with them. So again, like, I have not been blown away with Arvidsson, but he's going to be in the middle six somewhere. Like, that's going to happen. So try that.
So your third line had Mittelstadt, Easymont. Who was the third one?
Blumel.
Okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, Scott, when we were texting last night, I was, as you guys know, I sent you guys a list of the forwards I thought were going to be in the team, and I double counted the player. So I just at that point I just checked out for it. I was like, all right, I'm not going to.
Brian's like, I have David Pastrnak on every line. I think that's going to be good.
Pastrnak 12 times. But I had these lines I wanted to send you guys, but after that, my brain was in a pretzel, and I was like, I'm just gonna call it a night and not respond. But I was drafting up some lines as well with Poitras in the middle there on the second line too, Scott, because we were trying to figure out some combinations. But I like a lot what you said. I think this team is going to be in trouble, and it's going to be there's going to be a lot of growing pains regardless. So I mean, I don't hate that. Give me Minten, Poitras, and Blumel on the same roster. I'm fine with that because I also agree with you that I haven't loved Corrali's camp, and I know he had a lot of family matters and personal issues to start, and training camp is sometimes slow for players anyway. But Kastelik, even Jeannot. Like I like Michael Easymont's chances of scoring more on a third line role than Jeannot's, but yeah, I could see one of Kastelik or Corelli just being an extra forward with Kusnudinov. You know who that leaves out? Who clearly I'm fine with because I don't think he deserves to be there is Beecher. Like that means that Beecher is going to be waived, and you probably lose. You know what? I don't think you lose him. I think he goes down to Providence. I also think, Bridget, to your point earlier, I would lean more so that Blumel clears waivers simply for the fact that if you're not cracking the Boston Bruins forward lineup, I don't know if you're cracking many others this late into camp, unless there's somebody who's like suffered a couple injuries and they need a guy to start.
Yeah, I think also like, sure, there's better forward groups as a whole on paper around the league, but that doesn't mean that they have the depth that they want. So, it's
possible
he gets claimed. I just wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah, I've said it before, but because I see people even on Twitter where it's like, Georgi Merkelov is going to get claimed if he goes on waivers, it just to remind people, like, fewer players get claimed than you think. I saw Puckpedia tweeted, I think this was Thursday night, saying they expect around 100 players to be placed on waivers between now and Sunday afternoon. Because if you're waiving someone who's not going to be on your initial roster, that they have to go on waivers Sunday afternoon so that they can clear by Monday afternoon. And it's like, yeah, that's 100 guys that teams, just don't have room for. And it's like only, I don't know, a handful, maybe 10 of those guys like actually get claimed and change teams because everyone's trying to pare down their roster. Like they're not trying to add more to it generally, unless someone catches their eye. The most interesting one for the Bruins is going to be Michael DiPietro, who there were again reports this week that, if I had to guess, are probably being pushed by his agent, but that, like there's teams that will consider claiming him if he's on waivers. And there are definitely teams that are going to consider it. I'm still interested to see if anyone actually does it, because I went through every team's depth chart and it's like just about every team already has 2 NHL goalies. Like there's a couple that don't, or a couple where the backup is waivers eligible and you wonder what, like I looked at Ottawa and it's like, obviously you have Linus Ullmark and then their backup is Levi Merilainen, who is like a promising young goalie, but it's like, would they consider sending him down to play regularly in the AHL, or is he their backup in the NHL? Like, I just don't know. I don't know what they're thinking as an organization. The Oilers made a goalie addition this week. It's like, I mean, it only takes one team, but like, I don't think it's a lock at all that DiPietro would get claimed. I think it's very possible he would clear.
Well, I agree, Scott. I think there's always a possibility that some of your final, cuts, if that they get claimed. But I'm with you. I think that most of the Bruins are. I think the Bruins could probably send them to Providence. I think most of them would probably clear waivers, if not all of them. So where does that leave us now? I mean, we're gonna find out soon enough. Like you said, the Bruins take the ice at 11.
Indeed, yeah, 11 o'clock Friday.
All right, so we'll get an idea of what they're thinking for.
Bridget's checking, seeing if we got any emails in the time before we log off.
No.
Yeah, I mean, so let me jump back to. I mean, do you agree that, especially Scott, in a scenario where you have Minten, Poitras, and Blumel on the team, that clearly leaves Johnny Beecher, like he's going to have to be waived. Do you think that should be the case, and do you think he clears? I think it's yes and yes, but
yes and yes.
Yeah, I think so as well. I thought he had earned his way back up to the main practice group with his last preseason game. That was Philly, right? Yeah, I think against Philly. He had a tough first preseason game, got demoted to Group B, comes back. I thought had a really strong preseason game, was back up with the Group A practice. And then last night, like, I think I texted you guys, like, I thought he played fine. I thought he was fine Thursday night. He was out there for some defensive zone shifts in the third period, protecting a lead. Like, again, I don't want to dismiss that. That's a valuable thing to be part of, protecting a 1-goal lead. But I just don't think, I think he was still on the outside looking in, and I don't think he did enough to break through sort of that final hurdle to make this team.
Again, especially after last year. I mean, he had 1 goal in his final 73 games, and he was just, for the most part, he was a net nothing or net negative player for Boston. So I mean, it's one thing if he was a good fourth liner in the last year, and he comes in and he has some relatively up and down camp, but he wasn't in a position to have this type of camp. So especially when this is where the bottom 6, the 20 bottom 6 additions that Don Sweeney made in the offseason does come into play, because just about all of them, I think, honestly, all of them probably they pretty much had better. I mean, I shouldn't say all of them. I mean, I don't think Mark Hasek had a great camp, right? Like, I don't want to be having blanket statements, but most guys that were battling for roster spots for Johnny Beecher's direct competition, I think most of them outplayed him, and then it's just a numbers game, like So I don't think he makes the cut.
Yeah, and I mean, it is worth noting, like, he won 10 of 14 faceoffs. He continues to be good on faceoffs. That is valuable, but this team has Elias Lindholm, who's good on faceoffs, Sean Corrali, who's good on faceoffs, Mark Kastelik, when he takes faceoffs, is usually pretty good. Pavel Zacha has been over 50% more often than not. Like, I just don't know that you need a faceoff specialist at the bottom of the lineup. Like, it feels like that's something they already have.
Right, because what happens after the faceoff? Then play ensues, and you need somebody who can do other things as well. So unless you're just taking faceoffs and hopping off the ice, which isn't what anybody's here suggesting. So, all right, any final takeaways, Bridget? I know you got to go, so we can wrap this up soon if you guys want.
I think I got everything off my chest, including the Taylor Swift stuff. So I think we're good.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, final preseason game is Saturday, and then we're rocking and rolling. We'll know what the roster is, and we'll have.
By the way, I will tease looking ahead to next week. So Monday, the Bruins are doing their start of season press conferences. So that'll be with Don Sweeney, Cam Neely, and Charlie Jacobs. So we'll have reaction to that. We'll have our season preview, and then of course reacting to the first 2 games of the season coming up next week.
All right.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all very much for listening. We'll talk to you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching the Skate Podcast. If you want to see more of our videos, visit our playlist.
Not in front of a screen? You can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Don't forget to follow us on social media. And if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and leave a comment.